there's not enough respect for sleep. People basically think it's almost optional, right? If I can go out and just have fun and party late, until late at night, or just put around in the house, or watch a movie, they will rather do that. They think sleep is somewhat optional. So that kind of attitude will have to shift, to gain more respect for sleep. And you put it as number one thing to do if you want to naturally improve your testosterone or your overall health. Yeah. So 7 hours will be the minimum. I would assume that's.
Well, I'm not a sleep expert, and I've read the books and tried to learn a lot about it, but it seems to be like highly individualized. And there's research that 1% of the population has the genetic SNP to be what's called a short sleeper. And so they really can thrive on 6 or 7 hours of sleep. And then there's other research saying that like 15% of the population believes that they're one of those 1% that could get by as a short sleeper.
They're one of those chronically probably sleep deprived, but thinking I just don't need as much.
Yeah. I mean, if you hit these checkpoints, like you wake up alert and energized near sunrise without an alarm, and you pop up and go, sounds like you're getting sufficient sleep. What I've learned over time, and I'm still like you just spoke, in the back of my mind, I feel kind of like insecure or guilty about it because I have such a huge requirement for sleep. And I always did. I was like that guy in high school. I couldn't get to class. I fell asleep in second period because we used to run at 5:30 in the morning. And the teacher at Taft High School here in the San Fernando Valley, she sent me to the principal because she thought I was on drugs because I was just passed out in her English class. And luckily, the principal was an official at the track meets. And so I walk into his office. He's like, "Hey, Brad, what are you doing here?" I fell asleep in second period. He's like, "Oh, wow, how many miles did you run this morning?" So I didn't get in big trouble, but during my career as a triathlete, I slept 10 hours a night, absolutely rock solid every night, and a 2-hour nap almost every afternoon. So for this period of time from age 20 to 30, I was asleep for half of my life. And that's what it required to get as much out of my body. And even today, I'm finding that I need 8.5 to 9.5 hours. And the 9.5 comes when I push my body hard with a track workout, which I'm inclined to do frequently. But I too, just at this age, trying to be Mr. Jock guy, oh my gosh, you have to rest and you have to recover. And there's a fine line there. Sometimes I ask myself, what am I doing? Why am I pushing myself with, sprinting as fast as I can around a track? I know it has a lot of health and longevity benefits, but then I have to, put in all this sleep time after just to recover.
Okay. So if you work out really hard one day, you are going to make sure you're going to have more time to recuperate by sleeping.
Yeah. I always wake up without an alarm, and I am very good about going to bed at a consistent time, which are two of the biggest things on the scoreboard. And then we always talk about hours, but there's that other element of what quality is your sleep.
Yeah, I think going to bed at the same time is pretty important because it does sets up your biological clock. It teaches your body how to live, what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, we're influenced by the rising and setting of the sun for 2.5 million years, as are all creatures on Earth. And only in the last 120 years or something have we royally messed with this, thanks to Thomas Edison and Steve Jobs and Joe Netflix and all the leaders of, bringing us into the industrial era. But before that, our great-great-grandparents, whatever, it got dark out and they probably had candles and a lamp and they sat by the fire. And these are sources of orange light, so they don't interfere with melatonin production like we call blue light, but we think as white light, indoor lighting. And so we had this natural ability to wind down when the sun set in our environment for millions of years. And now we're able to stimulate cortisol production, stay alert, energized because we're watching a great thing on Netflix, and pay the price over time because of this ability to override the body's natural circadian rhythm.
Right. I think one reason I mentioned it is I realized, listening to some experts talking about even timing of eating, it may be better for you to start to break your fast every day at a similar time, because I was guilty of trying to push my fast for as long as I can, even if that makes me miserable. But probably I was confusing my biological clock. My body never knows when the next meal, when the meals come, so all the system can wake up, right? The next phase of, of absorbing nutrients. So if you can stay on a more consistent regime, including sleep and eating, I think that probably is going to be helpful for this biological system.
This is called the digestive circadian rhythm, and the emerging research, especially Dr. Panda at Salk Institute, San Diego, they're so intertwined. And we didn't really think about this for a long time, but I like the research saying, hey, when you get up, consume some calories and get some energy going. I mean, this is just an argument saying that eating something in the morning will help you kick into gear, just like drinking a coffee does, but same with consuming the calories. And so it's out there that people can say, so I don't have to fast until midday to get, on the scoreboard as a health enthusiast. But then I think the one that's less disputed and more agreed upon is the strong recommendation to not consume any calories after dark, because after dark is when we want all systems to kind of start winding down. It's called dim light melatonin onset, DLMO, and that's the cue is the darkness in the environment. We start to produce melatonin more and more and more, and that's what makes us sleepy and has all these other hormonal functions and repair functions, but you can interrupt that with one message on your screen. There's a great book called Lights Out, Sleep, Sugar, and Survival, talking about the interruption caused by one glance at your phone in the middle of the night is enough to arrest melatonin production dramatically. And so people get super freaked out about, the biohackers with their lenses and their completely dark environment. But I'll tell you, my friend's house, he has a completely pitch dark experience in the guest bedroom. And there's nothing like sleeping in that cave. It is a big difference from what I would say is my mostly dark environment most of the time. But, there's little cracks here and cracks there. And there's an LCD screen over there in the corner. So if you have trouble sleeping, that's when you go hard on some of these things, like don't eat food after dark, make your environment pitch dark if it's possible, get rid of all noise and distractions. If there's physical clutter in your bedroom, the research shows that this will prompt a stress response. It'll prompt a cortisol release because you're looking over there in the corner that your lazy-ass boyfriend didn't finish the windowsill that he was painting. And so there's a can of paint, a drying paintbrush, and then there's a stack of bills over there on your temporary desk because you had to get working at home during quarantine. All these things can mess up your sleep just by walking in and looking at them. So we can go online and look at Google minimalist bedroom, or the Asian style decorations where they have the low bed and two little nightstands and everything's austere and minimized. That will kind of welcome the body to say, hey, this is the place where you can come and rest, rather than the desk over there. And oh my gosh, if there's a TV in your bedroom right now, get rid of that thing. That is that's an F score on sleep hygiene